March 9th, 2011. This is today's climate change update. I'm going to start with a little disclaimer. Now, I'm up to over 2,200 subs. Thank you for all the new people. I appreciate you watching. I just want to let you know I do not do this for money. I don't make one fiat cent doing these reports. I work for a living, and I cannot be Johnny on the second when some of these stories come out. So I know there's a handful of you that do email me stories and try to keep me up to date on what's going on. I appreciate that very much. Please continue. But I honestly, I just don't have the time to be the guy. I'm not on the computer 24 hours a day. With that, I would also like to ask if anyone knows a good disaster website that is covering Europe. I'm having a hard time finding stories out of Northern Europe and Russia. So let me begin with this story that Dutch Sense put out today. Massive flooding in Albania, Europe. Square miles covered, entire towns lost. Now this video shows a group of either military type or policemen in a boat touring completely flooded towns. The whole town's underwater, and they're having a big time with weather in Northern Europe. And again, I'm not finding places covering these stories. Let's go to earthchangescott.net. Vanishing lakes. New Zealand reservoir mysteriously disappears during quake. I watched a video on this. Apparently a big tank they had built in this little town, the size of a football field, and it held 36 million liters of water. The base cracked with the big New Zealand earthquake, of course, and the neighbors heard big sloshing around, and now the water's gone and seeping through the cracks and leaking out in the lower parts of the town, and causing all kinds of problems if they don't have enough stuff going on right now. We have a 7.2 earthquake off the coast of northeast Japan. They're not reporting any damage. There was a small tsunami. Looks like it was a 24-inch or 60-centimeter tsunami reached the coastal town of Ofunato, with other towns reporting smaller waves reaching shore about 30 minutes after the quake. So there was a small tsunami after this big quake off the coast of Japan, and again, that's the Ring of Fire, and it continues to be unstable. Story out of the United States. Millions of fish found dead in the California marina. Redondo Beach. Millions of dead fish were found Tuesday floating in a Southern California marina. Boaters awakened to find a carpet of small silvery fish surrounding their vessels. California Fish and Game officials believe that the fish are anchovies and sardines. The story goes there's a red tide going in, and these fish came into the marina to get away from the red tide, and then high winds pushed them up against the wall and they ended up suffocating. But they are testing some of the fish just to be sure. Things are up in the air, and there are videos out on this. And that's it for Earth Changes. Over to the extinction protocols. Of course, they've got the California marina, and they report millions of fish float dead in the California marina. They have photographs, and yeah, I would say that's more than tens of thousands. And a video. They've got the New Zealand reservoir story, and then they've also got along here another story. Huntsbury, New Zealand, 36 million liters of water mysteriously disappeared from a reservoir in Huntsbury, New Zealand following February 22nd 6.3 earthquake in Christchurch. These events have occurred in the past and are now happening with greater frequency as geological forces under the ground continue to erode substrata. Our planet is undergoing massive changes beneath our feet. This geological deformation will only accelerate and become more widespread with time as the pace of earth changes intensifies. And disappearing lake phenomenon increasing. An entire lake disappeared overnight in Russia, just south of Moscow in 2005. The lake is believed to have drained through a fault or fissure. In 2007, an entire lake disappeared in China from likely another fault rupture during a quake. And oh, that was in Chile, my bad. And in one of the strangest incidents of all, in September of 2010, the Iska River in Slovenia mysteriously disappeared overnight after residents near the river reported hearing a mysterious sonic boom and tremors. So an entire river disappeared, and they have a video on the river disappearance on the site. They're talking about mysterious thermal hotspot found on the south pole of Saturn's moon. And they're trying to explain the ice vents coming out of the poles of this moon. And they're saying it's a lot more powerful than they previously expected. Where is it? A possible explanation of the high heat flow observed is that of the moon's orbital relationship to Saturn's and Diagon changes within time, allowing periods of more intense tidal heating separating by more crescent periods. This means the Cassini might be lucky enough to be seeing this moon when it's unusually active. So they're saying this might not be an all-the-time thing. Remember when they were saying these outgases were shooting off this moon, Enceladus, and I'm not going to kill the name of that. Solar activity now accelerating on the sun. March 8th, high solar activity. Solar cycle 24 is heating up. No fewer than 3 sunspots, 1164, 1165, and 1166, are crackling with M-class solar flares, and each one of them has a Delta-class magnetic field capable of producing an even more powerful X-flares. And that's out of Space Weather. And reports out of South Africa. The Hermanus Space Weather Warning Center on Sunday said large solar flare was currently being experienced in South Africa. The solar flare would result in higher radiation levels from the sun. The SWWC's forecaster said people should be careful when they go outside. People must wear high sunscreen factor at the moment, or preferably go shopping. Go shopping? Oh, to go in the malls to cool off, I guess. A powerful solar flare could overwhelm high voltage transformers with electrical currents and short-circuit energy grids, with one such an event in 1989 disrupting power across the Canadian province of Quebec. And I do remember that. And I was checking SolarSoft, and there has been 5 M-class flares on the 8th UTC time, and there was 7 M-class flares coming off on the 7th UTC time. So the sun is definitely kicking up. And then I'm going to go over to the RSOE. Of course, I have not heard back from the head of the RSOE, so I'm not 100% positive about the site. They were having problems before. But I'm going to go ahead and just report on it anyway. Got a forest fire out of China. Thousands of firefighters are out fighting this fire. And they're saying due to rough terrain and the density of this forest, they're having a hard time putting it down, but they're expected to get it down by this morning. They have the tsunami in Japan report. Where was the other one? Extreme weather in Israel. Apparently just a deluge of downpour of rain. There's messing up with their traffic. And they're getting snow. And they're reporting the snow should be falling, but it should not hit the ground on Jerusalem. But they got a huge cold front coming up with the Mediterranean wet, and just all kinds of weather right there in the Israeli area. I'm sure it's beyond Israel. It's into the rest of the Middle East right there as well. Let's go that is about it for today. And like I said, go ahead and check out SolarSoft. The sun has been very active the last couple of days. And if I missed anything, of course, please let me know. Until next time, enjoy while you can, everybody. Thanks.